Some stories in hip hop get remembered and some slowly get forgotten. Welcome to Remember the Era. Now, it's certain eras in hip hop that people remember, and then it's certain eras people still talk about like they survived them. The Gangsta Grillz eras was one of them eras, because if you came up in the early 2000s, before streaming, before social media, before artists dropped an album every other week chasing the algorithm, then you remember what it felt like when the Gangsta Grillz tape dropped. This wasn't just another mixtape. It was an event. It was a moment. It was a takeover. And for a while, it honestly felt like DJ Drummer controlled the streets of hip hop. Now, to understand why Gangsta Grillz mattered, you have to understand what hip hop felt like during that time. See, back then, music still felt connected to real places. New York sounded like New York. Houston sounded like Houston. Atlanta sounded like Atlanta. Everybody had their own sound, their own slang, their own DJs, their own movement. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, the mixtape became the heartbeat of the culture. Now, younger people today might hear the word mixtape and think it just means playlist uploaded online. Nah. Back then, mixtapes meant something. Mixtape built careers. They built buzz. Mixtapes created legends. And if an artist was hot in the streets, eventually they was gonna end up on the Gangsta Grillz tape. Now, before DJ Drummer became one of the most important DJs in hip hop history, he was just a young dude obsessed with music and the hustle behind it. Originally from Philadelphia, Drummer eventually made his way to Atlanta. And honestly, that move changed everything, because Atlanta in the early 2000s was turning into the center of hip hop. The South was rising fast, man. You had Lil Jon changing club music forever, T.I. introducing the world to trap music, Jesus speaking directly to the hustlers and the street dudes, Ludacris becoming the superstar. Outkast had already kicked the doors open for the South years earlier, and now the whole region was exploding. But while major labels were still trying to figure out what was happening, the mixtape scene was becoming its own kingdom, and DJ Drummer was about to become the king of that world. Now, what made Gangsta Grillz feel different, it was the energy. Most mixtapes back then felt unofficial, kind of cheap, thrown together, but a Gangsta Grillz tape felt cinematic, like you were hearing real history in real time. And then it was Drummer's voice. That voice became a part of hip hop culture itself. Gangsta Grillz, you bastard. You know, the yelling, the explosions, all of the tags, the energy, man. Everything about it made artists sound larger than life. It didn't matter if it was Jeezy, Gucci Mane, T.I., Fabulous, 50, any artist trying to become the next superstar, once they got on that Gangsta Grillz tape, they instantly felt bigger. And honestly, it was a period where getting a Gangsta Grillz tape felt more important than radio play. That's just how powerful the mixtape era became. Then came Wayne. And this when things really changed. Because it's artists who become superstars, and then it's artists who completely take over a whole era. And during the mixtape era, Wayne was different. This man was everywhere. Every freestyle, every feature, every remix, every mixtape. It felt like Wayne was rapping over every beat in America. And when he linked up with DJ Drummer for the Dedication series, hip hop changed forever. People weren't just listening to them tapes. They were living through them. Burning CDs to them. Playing them in parking lots. Listening to them on late night drives. Passing them around with friends like treasures. Because they were treasures. And honestly, it was something special about discovering music back then, because you had to go find it. Somebody had to put you on it. You might have gotten a mixtape from a barbershop, a gas station, a flea market, a trunk, or a friend who just had a computer full of downloaded music, man. Music felt earned during that era. You had to earn it. That's what people miss. But, like most powerful movements in hip hop, success started attracting more attention. Because what Drummer and the mixtape DJs were doing was changing the industry. Artists was building fan base outside of the traditional system. Fans were getting music directly from the streets. And labels, they were slowly losing control. Then came 2007, the raid. Federal agents and local police raided DJ Drummer's studio in Atlanta. Thousands of mixtapes was confiscated. People got arrested, and suddenly the mixtape era didn't feel untouchable no more. Now think about how crazy that sounds. A DJ raided over mixtapes. But during that time, the industry treated mixtapes almost like piracy. Even though mixtapes were helping artists become stars, for a moment, it honestly felt like the culture was under attack. Because to fans, Drummer represented something bigger than music. He represented independence, the grind, the underground. The idea that you didn't need permission to build your own movement. But what made the Gangsta Grillz era legendary was the fact that it survived. In some ways, the raid actually made Drummer more iconic, because now Gangsta Grillz carried rebellion with it. It felt dangerous, real, untouchable. And eventually, Drummer came back stronger than ever, because the streets still wanted those tapes. Artists still wanted that cosign, and fans still wanted that feeling, because nothing sounded like a Gangsta Grillz. And honestly, ain't really been nothing to replace that era since. Now, when people talk about the greatest periods in hip hop history, the mixtape era deserves way more respect than it gets. Because without mixtapes, a lot of careers probably never happened. Mixtapes let artists experiment, stay hot between albums, talk directly to the fans, build a cult following, and created movements without waiting on labels or radio stations. That music changed hip hop forever. And really, that era also proved something important for independent artists. Ownership mattered. Consistency mattered. building your own audience mattered. That mentality helped shape modern independent music culture. And maybe that's why people still go back to those tapes to this day. Not just because the music was good, but because those tapes reminded people who they were at during them times. Late night drives, school mornings, house parties, DVD players in the car, CD binders on the passenger seat. Memories, man. The music became attached to memories, and memories always outlive trends. DJ Drummer helped soundtrack one of the most important eras hip-hop has ever seen. Not through streaming playlists, not through algorithms, not through billion-dollar marketing campaigns, but through hustle, consistency, and understanding what the streets wanted before the industry did. That's why the Gangsta Grillz era still matters, because it represented a time when hip-hop felt raw. It felt regional, competitive, and alive, man. And honestly, a lot of people still miss that feeling. I know I do. And maybe that's what made the mixtape era feel special. It felt like people controlled the culture, not algorithms, not trends, not corporations, but the people. And if you lived through the Gangsta Grillz era, then you already know, man, them mixtapes were more than music. They were the memories, man. But I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. Y'all stay tapped into what we doing over here at South ENT. And y'all support us, man. Y'all go check out SouthENTmusic.com. Grab some merchandise. Check out some music, man. Until next time, peace.